Hello my dear friends and welcome to my channel. Don't forget to make yourself a cup of tea with snacks if you want, because today we have very interesting stories, and one of them is a story about a woman who caused a scene when her kids lost in a laser tag game. Please subscribe if you haven't and I hope you'll enjoy it. So let me give everyone who is reading this some background. The details might be fuzzy, but hope I can still provide a good story. This happened 2 years ago. I am now 18, almost 19 now, but I knew this girl. Let's call her Ashley. Now Ashley was your typical nerdy gamer girl who was rather cute and would rather go on nerdy, dorky dates than your typical dates. So Ashley and I had known each other for approximately 4 years now and found out that we had a lot in common, but were going through the end stages of a breakup that had happened 8 months ago with a guy who had been rather abusive. What he did and how he did it doesn't matter, but to get to the story, all her friends had abandoned her and I was the only one who stuck by her. So anyways, we were chilling at this local arcade and amusement park setup and we were having an amazing time with each other. We were finishing up with a game of air hockey when she told me she had to go to the bathroom. Cue an entitled mother. Hey there mister, I was wondering if you could do something for me. Depending on what it is, I could maybe help you. What do you need? Oh perfect, so I was wondering if you could take my daughter on a date. I have been overhearing your conversations with that other girl, and I think you two would fit perfectly. Thanks for the offer, but as you could probably tell that I am already on a date and I really do like this girl. Oh come on, that girl isn't even close to attractiveness as my beautiful daughter is. Sorry no, I hope she finds someone good for her though. As I am now proceeding to walk away. The entitled mother seemed really upset and disgusted that I didn't date her daughter, but I was like whatever. Now around this time me and Ashley had regrouped and she bought us pretzels which we munched on. Nearing the end of our date, Ashley and I had a lot to eat and drink, so we decided to have one more bathroom break before leaving. I ended up finishing up before Ashley, waiting for her to be done, and then it happened. How I almost lost my date that night. Hey there again, now with her daughter who I won't lie, was kinda cute, but looked like she didn't even want to be there and a little younger and was on her phone. Hi. Seeming more annoyed now. So how about it? You drop that easy woman of a date off and date my daughter. At this point entitled teen, E.T., looked from her phone and I kid you not, stared at me like a piece of meat which made me feel really uncomfortable. I grew more and more nervous and just wanting to get out of there before E.T. runs up to me and full on kisses me. She started latching on while I tried pulling away from her, and that's when I noticed Ashley, dumbfounded. She quickly grew teary-eyed and ran off crying. At this point, I was just freaking done with this bullcrap and full on shoved the entitled teen and mother out of my way so I could chase after Ashley. While I was running, the mother was shouting explicit and why can you not date my daughter, but that easy girl you English pig. I have an accent and the daughter complaining to the mother about how it's her, Ashley, fault that I ran or some crap like that. I didn't give a crap and had more important things on my mind. So the night ended with me having to explain to Ashley in the car ride back to her house what really happened. She told me that she wanted a small break so she can collect her thoughts, but I reminded her that I loved her a lot and hoped she knew I wouldn't ever do that unless something bizarre like that happened. After the week ended, she believed me, telling me that she knew me for so long to know that I would never do that, and we ended up dating for 1.5 years before her family had to move away. Why is it always break up with your date and with my daughter or son because they're attractive? Like that's the only reason one would ever date anybody. I'm gonna need more than just a pretty face in order to date your kid Karen. Let's review the characters in this tale. M. I wonder who, M. I'm not going to insult your intelligence, F. Her witch of a friend, CS. Cool supervisor, SM. Staff mate. Let's begin. So I've worked at an arcade and laser tag arena for the past few months, and part of my job is to marshal and run laser tag games. It's a lot of fun, especially when I get asked to jump into the game to help make up numbers. However, sometimes we get some absolute pricks in, but nothing compares to the absolute hell M gave me. We had barely opened when she comes swaggering in with the F, with full pink tracksuit, dyed blonde hair, lips that would put the Kardashians to shame, and more plastic on and in her than Barbie, with 6 kids all under the age of 10 in tow, all of whom were running about, knocking crap over and screaming like banshees, with no input or control from the mother. She comes straight up to the desk to SM and asks how everything works, whether she could leave the kids with us all day and come and collect them later. Of course SM said no since we are an arcade and laser tag arena, not a child care center. EM gets all huffy, saying that they would just be in a restaurant around the corner, we were part of a complex and mall, and we should be able to look after them since it wasn't busy. Even though we had just opened up, we were due to have 3 birthday parties and bookings within the next 2 hours, which can be very hectic. So we said that they could not leave the kids alone. Additionally, EM would have to sign disclaimers, confirming that they were aware that, with the kids going in for a laser game, there would be loud noises, lasers, flashing lights as a risk factor. Of course, she moaned and witched about that too, but eventually did it, her fake nails gouging chunks out of the desk. Once that was all done and sorted, enter M to call the laser game in. The hellspan comes sprinting over and into the briefing room. We have a mandatory health and safety video for anyone who is playing, followed by a group of 5 teenagers, 16 or 17. EM sees this and comes marching over. This is the dialogue that ensues. Why are those boys going in? It is my children that are booked in for this time. I'm sorry, but we facilitate up to 30 players at any one time, and if other people come in, they join the time slot that is available next. That's ridiculous. I have booked my children in, so they should be able to play by themselves. I don't want those thugs in with them. Note: the thugs were actually better behaved than the hellspan, sitting calmly and waiting for the video. I'm sorry, but unless you want to wait for the next 3 hours, we have people booked in for every session. At this point, the kids tell EM it's fine and they don't mind, so I start the video, after EM demands to go in with them, but not play. When they finish the video and come through to get their packs and pistols, I ask EM what she wants done with the teams. The kids want to all work together, which I knew would be a bad move, since they would lose horrendously against the teens, and I say as much to EM, whatever. Just put them all on the same team. They should be playing by themselves anyway. So, since I have verbal consent and confirmation, against my explicit advice otherwise, they go on the same team against the 5 teens. EM walks out and leaves with her friend to go to the restaurant, even though we said they couldn't. When the kids finished their game, unsurprisingly coming last by a considerable amount, EM reappears with EF, and are met with the kids complaining about how unfair it was, and how they didn't have fun. By this point, I'm in the arena still with the next group, getting them set up for their game, when CS comes in, and asks me to come out front. I knew what was gonna happen, so I braced myself for the crap show. EM is shouting and pointing at me, demanding to know what the hell I thought I was doing. Why did you put them against those thugs? Did you not think that that would have been unfair? Are you actually stupid, or do you just enjoy making children sad? Well, I'm sorry, but when I told you that the teams wouldn't be fair and that they would lose, you said to put them on the same team anyway. This fact seemed more infuriating to her than the color red is to a bull, and she went ballistic. No. I don't want to hear your crap. You have no clue what you're doing here, and you clearly are a monster who enjoys making kids cry now. I demand that you put my babies in for a game by themselves, or I will get you fired for child abuse at this point. I'm livid since I was doing exactly as she said, and now is demanding free stuff since her kids didn't have fun, and threatening me for no valid reason whatsoever. CS sees this and sends me back into the arena before I say anything else, and the kids go in for another game with the other people in the arena since, unsurprisingly, we wouldn't block out 25 other spots, so 5 people can play alone. Again, the kids lost and went out to complain, and again we had the fireworks of what kind of crap are you running here? All because her kids were too young to be any good and kept losing. CS gave them some tokens for the arcade to shut them up when he really should have kicked them out, and EM then left the kids in the arcade with the tokens and went back to the restaurant with EF, who through all of this was blowing bubbles, obnoxiously chewing gum, and playing with her hoop earrings. The kids blew all their tokens within about 10 minutes, who knew kids in an arcade would go crazy? And go to EM to complain about it. She comes marching in with a face like thunder, screaming yet again, this time at SM and CS. She proceeded to follow the routine of putting 20 tokens onto the kids' game card, which is about 4 or 5 games worth, and then going mental at SM and CS for not monitoring the kids when they blew it all in 10 seconds flat. For an entire day, we had to put up with this crap until it all came to a climax when CS and I asked her to leave with her kids because she was being aggressive and disrespectful to staff and other customers. I thought she went mental before, but she reached a whole new level of crazy. How dare you, we have paid to be here. They had paid roughly £30 for an experience worth £80. You have no right to kick us out when we have done nothing wrong to justify it. This is abuse and discrimination. Discrimination against what? I still don't know. This whole business is a money-taking leech. I am a single freaking mother. You pricks. I deserve a day off, and you should be able to look after my kids for me while I get a freaking coffee. At this point, the complex security guards were called, one of whom I'm friends with, since we naturally speak a lot when we are both in at the same time. EF clocks them and nudges M, but that just seems to provoke her more. I don't know what the hell kind of show you are running here, having child harassers working with kids. She said, pointing at me, M, who doesn't like being pointed at in this way. Ma'am, can you please not point at me? I don't like it. Don't you tell me what to do. I will do whatever I damn well feel like. At this point she grabs my arm because I raised them in a placating gesture. I'm not a germaphobe or against physical contact, but I'm not fond of being touched by strangers at all. It makes me severely uncomfortable, and, since I am a black belt in Taekwondo, my natural response was to twist out of her grip and put her in an arm lock. She then sees the security guards, who have seen the whole thing, and start screaming that I'm assaulting her. I let go, and the guards ask what is going on. Before either myself or CS can say anything, EM goes on a rant filled with cussing and threats and claims of child abuse and assault and theft, and all kinds of crap. CS just lets her rant and then says that we have security tapes showing her being aggressive and a prick to everyone, as well as assaulting me, with me just defending myself. She goes white, tries to run, abandoning her kids, by the way, and gets tackled by security. She then was escorted off premise, permanently barred from ever returning, and had to pay for some damages her kids did in the arcade. I on the other hand got the rest of the day off, a free game of laser and a pretty funny story. Oh man, this is crazy and cool story. Combining all the EP stuff we love. Use place as daycare, single mother, insist kids play with older kids, upset when kids lose, demand free stuff, keep demanding free stuff, scream about child harassers, get hauled off by security. You just made my day. Off by security. My entitles mother. Me. Yours truly. So a bit of backstory, my parents have been divorced since I was little, so it's just been my mom and I for the most part. My dad does pay child support, and my mom send the bills for all my expensive needs, and he pays half of that too, his will come in later. My mom and I haven't had a healthy relationship since I was in the single digits, and as O got older she got more and more entitled. Once I got to the age where I could work, I went away for a few weeks to work at a summer camp where I got paid a few $100s. It wasn't a huge amount, but it was my first real paycheck. When I got back, my mom immediately to my paycheck and said, it's compensation for you abandoning me those weeks and not doing your chores. I was frustrated but let it go. A few months later I moved out, tired of her entitled and abusive ways. If curious, read previous stories of mine. After her sabotaging my first job, see page for story, I got a job working fast food. Once she found out, she demanded my paychecks and stated, you need to give them to me because you owe me for raising you. I told her no, and she called me a spoiled brat. Then I got in contact with my father, whom my mom had told me not to contact, and I informed him that I was no longer living with my mom, but she was still getting child support, but that it wasn't going towards me, not because I wanted the money, but because he should know. He and I got back in contact, and he took the legal steps so that I could get the money directly and so my mom couldn't sue. Once my mom found out, crap hit the fan. Why did I get a notice that I'm not receiving child support from your father? Because as I'm not living with you, the child support goes directly to me. Excuse me, that is my income. It's the money that is supposed to go towards me. Not your income. You're the one who doesn't want to work. I shouldn't have to work right now. I can't work and I need that money. That money is supposed to go towards me, and it hasn't been for over 6 months, since before I even moved out. But you're not responsible enough. You're going to waste it. You're a child. I have more money than you right now. I put half of every paycheck in a saving account. How am I not responsible? The money is going to my education and that's final. You're so ungrateful. You don't deserve that money. I need it. That money is legally mine. You haven't used that money on me in like a year. I'm not going to ask for it back, but you've taken more than enough. My mom screamed at me a bit more before hanging up. After that she didn't speak to me for a month or two until I had a scheduled family therapy session with her where she proceeded to tell the therapist how she was worried about me spending all my money and acted like she was concerned about me. I just want to save it for her. She isn't old enough to manage all her money. She is a binge eater and will spend all her money on food and waste it all. I'm just looking out for her. You know that's crap. I've been putting half of every paycheck away into savings and I have more money than you. The therapist agreed that I should hold on to my own money, and at 16 I was old enough to try and manage my own money. My mom stormed off at the end of the session, and after calling me a liar and a witch outside of the office. Turns out after I went home my mom turned around and went to the therapist and tried to get her to side with her and also access my personal records. I went to personal therapy at the same office. 3 years later I have a good amount of money saved in my accounts and still have more to my name than she does. I am in charge of my money and refuse to let her have any access to my things. Stay the hell as far away from her as possible. You owe me for raising you? Yeah, that's not how this whole parent-child thing goes. Well guys, that's it for today. If you end up enjoying this video please consider subscribing, and if you missed the last episode on the channel I'm gonna link it right here. The story is about a woman who tried to steal OP's phone because her daughter couldn't get a drink. Check this out if you haven't, and I'll see you in my next video.